Now, it won't be much of a surprise to many of you that AI is going through leaps and bounds at the moment, and we're on the verge of another technical revolution when it comes to this emerging technology. For example, we've seen AI images, large language models such as ChatGPT, and now see Google fighting back with Bard. Not only that, we're now seeing AI video becoming insanely powerful. Soon you'll be able to create Hollywood-grade movies from your pocket. And we're living in a world potentially within the next 5 to 10 years where everything could be tailored to someone's individual needs. Imagine you sitting or typing, talking even to a large language model or some form of AI to create your perfect game, your perfect movie, your customized series to watch in your free time. There are many breathtaking AI generated videos at the moment that are going around on social media, and it's becoming more and more increasingly difficult to understand or differentiate between something that's been created by a human and something that's been created by a piece of technology, quite literally a set of nodes that are generating these different images and pieces of content. You may be asking why on earth I am talking about this. Obviously, this channel predominantly focuses on cryptocurrency. However, there lies the inherent problem, or the solution potentially could be something like cryptocurrencies. Now, what I'm talking about potentially is in the future that we may need a method to hash different pieces of content that are being created by an AI or even created by a human. I believe it would probably be easier for the AI creators themselves to implement something that hashes everything that comes out of these image generation things. Now, of course, that's not completely foolproof, but we're talking about tokenization of those assets. And in this instance, we're not just talking about real world assets, which I focused on primarily in previous videos, where we look along the likes of tokenizing things like real estate or cars or gold bars. But here we're talking about tokenization of digital content itself, and not only to identify ownership of who the true owner is and obviously transfer ownership really easily, but also to differentiate between whether something was generated by a piece of code or was generated by a human. Now, I've got some examples here. I'm over on this website called Tidio, and here is a painting. Or is it a painting? Is it an image generated by AI? Who knows? Let's say it was a digital painting. The composition's really nice. You know, who knows what the difference between it is? Is this a real photo of a cat or an image generated by AI? I don't know. Looks like a real photo to me. There are no distortions. Can I tell which of these is the original and which is the fake? To be honest, not really. Now, majority of people could probably stare at this for a little while and begin to work out what the difference is between them. I'm just going to flick through here and we'll get to the end to see if we were correct on the first couple of images. Scrolling down to the correct answers then, we can see that first photo that we saw was actually generated by AI. The second one, which I think was a cat, was a real photo. And then down to the fourth and fifth, for example, were generated by AI. But as you can see there, it's becoming increasingly more difficult for you to be able to differentiate between whether something was a real photo taken in real time in the real world, or whether it was generated by a piece of software, or like I said, a cluster of nodes effectively via a neural network. Now, of course, this poses real world challenges, because when we're looking at, you know, things like misinformation and the spread of such articles and the likes, which are effectively inherently untrustworthy, we need to know a way, or have a way, to have a verifiable source. Now, something like Hedera Hashgraph has looked at this before. I think even Lehman has spoke about it in the past, but we basically need a way to hash this and store it all in an immutable way. And nothing better highlighted this more than when the latest Google I/O event the other day gave many people interesting realizations of how much of a focus AI is having, and everyone knows that everything needs to be tokenized. Of course, it's been said a million times, but you don't really realize it until you see these kind of trade shows where they're talking about AI infiltrating daily lives of everyone in terms of everything that will be generated. With the onslaught of AI infiltrating every aspect, though, of those media experiences, it becomes very clear that the near future, no one will be able to tell what is real and what isn't. Soon we'll be online and we'll have no idea that whether those images are actually what they portray. We've got things like deepfakes as well. Was that vacation a real photo, or was it actually rendered? Were there really that many fans at a concert, or did that war atrocity really happen or not? The need to know the source or the truth of an image can get quite quickly real and have real world consequences. Of course, this is nothing new, but the quality and ease of use to twist the truth is reaching new levels of convenience and will soon propagate everywhere. So how do we go about resolving this? Now, us looking at cryptocurrencies, one example we can look to is something like Hedera Hashgraph. It's the Hedera consensus service and the ability to immutably store information. So every piece of code, every file, every image will have the need to be tokenized. If we use images as an example, the only way to know if a photo is real or not would be to first start at the source. So that could either be the camera, or we could look at it from the perspective of it's a piece of AI generated imagery. The thing could be hashed and then stored directly via the Hedera consensus service, immutably for everyone to understand whether that image was generated by a piece of software. For example, if we look at the camera, you could run the camera at OS level, takes a hash of what basically has been taken. And again, that could be uploaded and stored. Now, of course, this isn't completely foolproof. However, it would make the job of identifying bits of information like this much easier going forward into the future, particularly with how widespread it's becoming. So when we say the future will be tokenized and everything will be tokenized, we literally mean everything potentially needs to be tokenized. Every data packet, every item, every experience. Now, what's interesting here, of course, is that there are very few cryptocurrency projects that have the potential to do something like this, and Hedera Hashgraph is one of them. They've been talking about asset tokenization for a long time. Native fungible and non-fungible assets on Hedera with performance, security, stability, alongside those low and predictable fees, make it one of the only DLT, if not one of the only cryptocurrency projects out there that would be capable of undertaking such a task. Digital assets like never before, public distributed ledgers that offer that asset tokenization often carry the burden of expensive and unpredictable fees with slow transactions and mutable complexity in smart contract configurations. The Hedera token service is completely different in that it enables that configuration, minting and management of fungible and non-fungible tokens on Hedera with ease and without the need to deploy smart contracts. And this, of course, makes it scalable. Look at what @movement.io has been doing with the sheer volume of transactions they've been submitting, throughputting on Hedera itself. Not to mention as well things like high configurability and strong and stable governance as well, with the likes of a governing council, as well as many different integrations. I talk about tokenization a lot because, like I said, it doesn't just doesn't just stem from real world assets. Digital assets as well need to be tokenized. And this is a growing subsection of the economy and will become a mainstay going forward when we look at growth. And this is where we start talking about $1 trillion market caps for things like this. If Hedera was one of the pioneers, let's say, to solve this, almost dilemma, I wouldn't quite call it a trilemma, but a dilemma of information accuracy online, then you are certainly looking at $1 trillion valuations for something like that. And that 100-year vision would certainly be realized, if not doubled or trebled going forward into the future, as it serves a massive purpose, much wider than just, organizations and governments, but down to the minutiae of people's day-to-day lives in terms of that the information that they are reading, consuming is actually accurate and factual. Hopefully that gives you all a bit more perspective on why I really do appreciate Hedera and its ability to go forward into the future to drive forward solutions that haven't even been thought of yet or haven't even been put into practice. It's still a fledgling ecosystem, but it's standing on the shoulders of giants in terms of what has been built behind the scenes from the likes of Dr. Lehman. And it has real potential in the future to be an absolute game changer, not only within the cryptocurrency space, but within the wider global economy as a main player for, immutable information being stored on a real-time ledger, which is, of course, scalable. Right then, before I round up this video, because this is actually a shorter one than normal, I just wanted to take a quick look at a use case that I've seen recently being developed upon or just launched on top of Hedera. It looks like a non-for-profit at the moment, and it's to do with staking. So many of you guys have watched my previous videos and tutorials about staking on Hedera Hashgraph itself. And as you all know, the APR is roughly, or should be, capped at 6.5% per annum if you're staking via a wallet like Hashpack or Blade Wallet to the native nodes. Of course, check out some previous videos if you haven't or aren't doing this currently. Now, that being said, of course, if we claim those rewards on a daily basis, of course, we can compound that further and we can achieve an APY of around 6.7%. The caveat here being, of course, is that you need to go in every single day to your wallet and actually claim your staking rewards. Now, we learned early on by reading the documentation from Hedera themselves, and again, I covered this in a video, that you can actually trigger staking rewards by manipulating the balance within your Hedera wallet itself, and that's by design. For various different reasons. Again, I cover that in a different video. I've seen some different NFT projects that look at doing something like this, but recently I've seen this pop up called Hashstake, which sends automatic daily transactions to your Hedera wallet to collect those staking rewards for you, and it's completely free of charge. And they're basically scaling up users at the moment. I think the first 100, 200, 300 users won't have to pay anything, and then maybe going forward to sign up your wallet to this particular service, you might have to pay a small fee of something like 20 cents. Now, they are sending incredibly small portions of HBAR to your wallet, just enough to trigger those staking rewards so that your account effectively auto claims on your behalf and you don't have to do anything yourself. I've been testing this on a couple of my different wallets and it's been working incredibly well so far. The website is hash-stake.com, I believe. I will leave that link down in the description. And it's really simple. You literally just go ahead to the website, hit sign up, and all you need to do is punch in your wallet ID, and they want an email address. You could put in a fake email address, I guess. It doesn't actually send anything across to you if you don't really want any association back to your main email. And if I go back to their main website, you can see over here on the right-hand side under info, just to be clear, we do not offer staking services or anything of the like. We help trigger the staking rewards by sending transactions and nothing else. So all these guys are effectively doing, all you're providing is your public wallet ID, and they are sending a tiny amount of HBAR across to your wallet every 24 hours to just trigger the staking rewards themselves. That's literally the be all and end all of this as it is. There's no smart contracts or anything weird involved. You're not providing or handing over any information. Like I said, I just stumbled across it. It's a very small project at the moment. I have no idea whether these guys will continue into the future, particularly if it gets bigger, because of course they're paying for this out of their own pocket at the moment, as this is a free service. You can see here we'll be sending 0.0005 HBAR to each account. Each transaction will contain 8 different IDs. By doing this, we greatly reduce the costs and improves our script. So they're using different features from the Hedera token and consensus services to do this. They also include a memo called automatic staking triggers, and will always come from this particular ID. You can see this example below. Oh, you can see here. So phase 1, 0 to 1,000 users will be completely free. We'll cover these costs forever and we'll never charge anything. If you do want to support, you can donate to this particular wallet ID. 1,001 to 2,500 users. Sending daily transactions will be costing us a lot. If donations are enough to cover the cost, then we won't basically charge anything, although we may have a buy-in fee of 20 cents, which is roughly 3 HBAR for this particular service. Phase 3, they may up that as well because the transaction fee would be costing them 1.75 to 3.5 HBAR each day. Just shows as well though how crazy it is in terms of the low fixed fees on top of Hedera. They can send up to 5,000 transactions, or 5,000 divided by 8, and it's only going to cost them about 3.5 HBAR every day to do something like that for the community. So this is basically a community service, and I thought you guys might be interested in this, just based on what I've seen. Like I said, I've been testing it for the past, I think, 5 days or so, as it stops me having to manually claim all of my rewards across different Hedera wallets. Anyway, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment if you've got something to say. I do try and respond to as many of them as I possibly can. And until the next one, I'll catch you then. Cheers.